Hello, friends. Welcome and namaste. And let's just get right to it. Find that upright posture. Find that earth energy, right? The idea of rooting down into it, letting it ground you and center you and give you a foundation from which you build, so to speak. And then think of the structure of the spine as the building, letting each of those vertebrae just really gently lift off the vertebrae underneath it until you come all the way up the spine and the crown of the head gently lifts up. And of course, we've talked about how that earth energy is very heavy. As you move up, it slowly gets lighter and lighter and lighter until you're in that ether energy. And one of the ways I like to think about that is it's like my head is a helium balloon, gently floating up to the spine. But of course, its string, the spinal column, is tethered to the earth. Notice the breath. Notice muscles that maybe have tension that is not necessary. Notice thoughts, feelings, emotions, anything that you happen to notice about your holistic body. There's only one place you can start from, and that's where you are. So that is that energy of acceptance, or that practice. I want to say that practice of acceptance, accepting whatever you happen to notice, inviting everything to the table. We're going to bring our arms out to the side. Inhale, reach those arms up and over. You can have your eyes open or closed for this. And exhale, bring those hands together and down past your center. Basically the arms of a sun salutation. Yeah. Inhale, reach those arms up and out overhead. Exhaling them down through the center. One more time. Inhale up. This time when the hands come together, bring them in front of the heart and pause. Maybe gently dropping the chin in and just taking a moment and possibly asking, is there anything I can do to support you, or whatever version of that you have for yourself? Listening, seeing if there is indeed something, a request coming back at you, and then maybe set that for your intention. If not, just set an intention. Or at least that's the invitation anyway. Yeah? Lift the head, bring the hands to the thighs, gently open the eyes, and come into child's pose. You can use the blanket or not, your choice. We are going to do a little bit of cat-cow, a couple things on these. But just start with a soft child's pose. And all I mean by that is the arms are not working, right? Let the forearms come down. Let the hips sink down towards the heels. They don't have to touch. That's not the objective. Leaving the hips higher if the knees are in pain. Take a breath into your low back. And exhale. Soften and release. Inhale, take a breath into your mid back. With your exhale, release. And one more, and this time bring it into your upper back. And release, and I lied. I want to do one more. Seam it up, right? Inhale into your lower back as if you could, and then your mid back, and then your upper back. And exhale. Now, pardon me, start to stretch your arms out until they're straight. Your hands push down actively in your finger pads in order to lift the forearms up. I'm not going to go in depth with this today, and yet remember, the more we push the finger pads down, the more the center of the palm comes up and the less the weight hangs in the wrist. It's healthier for the wrist. Yeah. Outer upper arms rotating into the face. Find that beautiful upper body. And then walk your head up, bring your head up, walk your hands over to the right, and we're going into side child's pose. Parshva, side, Balasana, child's pose. If you want to get technical, it's Tutita as well, because arms are out front. Come back to center and then walk over to the left. And again, stretch those arms out, plant the palms and finger pads down, lengthen, lengthen. Very active in the upper body. Come back through center, back over to the right. This time we're going to add a twist in. The left arm is active just like it was. The right hand's going to come out into what I call training wheel. For my friends who know me well, right? You know this one. You're going to push into your hands and you're going to bring this into a twist and let the ribs twist over to the right side of the room. You can turn the head. Don't go too crazy with that. The neck doesn't need to be doing the entirety of the twist. Think of it more coming from the kidney band and where every rib is connected in your spine, aka your thoracic spine. And release down, walking over to the left. Get that right arm in a firm position, right? That right hand. Bring the left hand out like a training wheel on a bicycle. Push into the left hand and let that rotate your ribs to the left. Last thing, maybe you turn and look up, but again, don't let the majority of the twist be in the neck. I'd like you to think on concentrating or trying to make happen anyway. The invitation is to, from the kidney band all the way up to where the neck starts, every place where there's a rib connected to your vertebrae. Let that go, come back to center, take it up in a child's pose. Child's pose, downward dog. La, 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 la. And as you move back into your downward dog, this first one, feel free to pedal the legs. I will always suggest bending the knees a little bit, even if you're going to work with stillness right off the bat, and then move towards that straighter leg position. It gives slack to the pelvis. The spine can get a little longer usually, right? And then, again, you're either pedaling, swaying hips, you're still right in the center of all of that. But either way, let this be an exploration of your body. And the physical is where we usually go first. That's great. That's a wonderful place to start the practice, right? As we advance, we start to pay attention to all aspects of the body that we can take in. Noticing if anything is shifting and changing, right? And then go ahead and bring those knees down. Cat-cow. Inhale, reach the chest forward. When you exhale, you're going to pull your belly up and just move back and forth between cat-cow a few times here, opening up that spine, inflection and extension. Coming back to center, we already did it a little bit, but let's add in lateral. Let your tail wag to the right, look over your right shoulder, back to center, wag your tail to the left, look over the left shoulder, and do that a few times for your body. Just thinking of how the spine is moving into lateral extension to the right and to the left. And then coming back to center. And we're going to do twists throughout class, so we'll focus on that in a little bit. You're going to bring those blocks in just to give yourself a little bit of grace here in the beginning of class and step that right foot forward. It's just going to give you a little bit of height to make these transitions. Again, if your left knee is sensitive, you could lift the leg, you could put it on a blanket. If it's not already on a blanket, do what you got to do, right? We're going to let those hips move forward and come into what I call a low lunge. I call these low lunge legs, right? And exhale back. You might flex that right foot, you might not. I'm just moving my block so you can see. Move back and forth a couple of times just to say hello and open up the hips a little bit, especially the big, 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 big muscles on the front and the back of the thigh. And then the next time you're forward, stay forward. You're going to move that right block off to the side, step the right foot out towards the right edge of the mat. Right block can go wherever you want it to be. So the knee is a little bit wider than our traditional twist that we often do, right? You're going to put your right hand on your thigh, and I want you to do one motion before you twist. I want you to push your thigh and your hand into one another, right? So if it's better to have it inside, whatever you need, but you're pushing them into each other. So there's a little bit of conditioning or turning on of the muscles of the right leg, the inner groin, kind of through that area, right? And then use that leverage and now start to twist the body from your rib basket, right? And breathe. Maybe that right arm now comes up, maybe it does not. And then today, if it feels okay in the upper body, you're going to bend the right elbow into Gold Coast or Saguaro cactus arm, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to let that elbow continue to move back. Now, can you isolate that so it's in the upper back and it's not just your belly and your ribs moving forward? That's not bad or wrong, but if that's our tendency and we do this stuff over and over and over for a lifetime, right, we might end up with some little insecurities in that part of the spine. Rotate down, move that block back in. You can just step the right foot back. Bring the left foot forward and start it hip distance. Move forward and back a few times just to start to let the hippies unwind, so to speak. You know, and you guys with the videos, I don't know what time of day y'all doing this, but usually with our classes and stuff, we're more in the morning. So especially if you're just moving for the first time, or if you've been sitting down all day, the next time you come forward, stay forward. I'm gonna leave the right block right there. I'm gonna move that left block out of the way and walk my left foot towards the left edge of the mat. With my left hand on my thigh, kind of on my knee, I'm going to do a push-pull between the thigh and the hand, and I'm going to turn some muscles on in my pelvis, my hips, my thigh. I'm going to try and keep that even as I push into the leg, and I'm going to try to rotate from my kidney band all the way through the rest of the spine. Last thing to turn in is the head. I might just do that. I might reach that left arm up, stay there, fingertips just point straight up to the ceiling first. Now today, or this time, I'm gonna say, watch your ribs and your belly, find a little toning of that area, right? And then bend your elbow and move your elbow back, and try not to let it be the belly that moves forward, but rather your upper back, that shoulder blade kind of comes down, and then you get expansion across the chest. Bring the hand down, move the left foot back, step your right foot forward. Now this time we're going to keep it hip distance. You can keep the left hand on the block or bring it to the ground, right? Put your hand on your knee, your thigh, right thigh, right hand on right thigh. Wow, I'm all over the place today. And then from there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to push in. Now don't let that knee go wide for this version, right? Try to really keep that knee centered. Still concentrating on rotating from about your kidney bands all the way up through the upper, the mid back to the upper back to the neck. Neck is the last thing. This time we're not doing that arm thing. You're going to reach the right fingertips just straight up and try to find a beautiful straight line from your left hand pushing down, your right fingertips reaching up, and find that expanse across the chest without the cactus arm, best you can. Bring the hand down, stepping right leg back, left foot forward, bending in. Right hand stays in the block, left hand comes up under the thigh. Get really tall, right? Long first, I should say, in the spine. And then as you push into that knee, imagine the kidney band starting that twist, bringing you all the way in. Head is the last thing to turn. And when you reach the fingertips up this time, again, I don't want you to bring the elbow back. Keep that long line from right hand pushing down, left fingertips reaching up, right? And then find a little expansion across the chest without going into cactus arm or moving the elbow back. Can you find that? Bring the left hand down, move that leg back, move the blocks to the side, and go ahead and take a downward facing dog. And breathe. Notice if this one feels any differently than the last time we were here. This time we're going to transition with the right leg swinging up. You can always bring the knees down and do exactly what we were doing moments ago. Bring the right leg up, swing it forward between the hands. Left knee is going to come down to start, but keep your toes curled under today. Inhale, reach your arms forward and up. Again, if you know how to lift your knee, I'm not going to take it away from you, right? And then from there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to bring your hands down to your heart. So now pull your frontal hip points up and try to maintain that. I always think of it as like a containment, a support system for my low belly, my upper belly, and my low back particularly, right? We're going to twist and we're going to try and hook the left elbow to the outer right knee. Pause. Now I want you to bring your right hand to your thigh, and you might even come away from the leg a little bit, kind of nuzzle in there, right? And even move flesh if that's helpful. Use the right hand, grab the flesh of the abdomen and move into it. So really nuzzle in there. Bring the hand back up and in. You can leave it on the thigh the whole time. And then from there, I'm going to say look down for this next piece, right? Push your arm and your leg together, lengthen the spine, and come into the twist. Kidney band through the upper back, right? Now, keeping the gaze down, try to lift the left leg, pushing the left heel back, the knee comes off of the earth. You can leave it on the ground if it doesn't. And then the last piece is maybe you turn your head, but look with your eyes first and then turn your head to meet wherever your eyes went to. Spotting, right? That comes from Dance World. Take another breath and bring the hands down. You can do any variation of this in between. Step back, downward facing dog. Y'all know that, right? Meeting your body where it's at, not trying to meet me where I'm at or thinking yoga is a particular thing. Inhale the left leg up, exhale forward. Again, I'm going to suggest bringing the right knee down to start and keeping the toes curled under. Reach your arms forward and up. And then from there, right, bring the hands to the heart. Now find that containment right off the bat. Pull your frontal hip points up and try to contain the belly, the abdomen, and the low back. bring the right arm outside the left leg. I'm gonna turn my position here so you can see me better. You're gonna put that left hand on the thigh. And again, I want you to push into the thigh, just like we did with training wheel. That's why we did that, right? And try to rotate ribs. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna kind of slide my belly, and then I'm gonna bring my hands back. Now I'm gonna look down for these next transitions. I'm gonna push my arm and leg together and try to lengthen my spine and find the twist. I'm gonna reach my right heel back and lift my right knee and really extend the heck out of that right leg. Right head, heel back, crown of head forward. And then I'm gonna shift my eyes into the left corner of my socket and turn my head to that. And I'm gonna shift my eyes up. If you wanna turn the head, try spotting and see if that's a helpful tool for balance, right? Bringing the hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. We're just gonna kind of pile one twist on top of the other here. And of course, you go back 1 or 2 stages if it feels like the next one's not the one for you. Inhale the right leg up into the air behind you. Bring it forward. This time, bring the blocks in on high. If you need to step that left foot in a little bit to bring the heel down, please do. Pyramid legs, right? Please put the blocks on high. People really fight me on this one. And then your pelvis gets really taut and it's really hard to find the length of the spine, etc. So come on up if you can. Usually then we can be about parallel to the floor or something like that, depending on body proportions. Push that left heel down mightily, right? Really ground down through the left heel to find the length all the way through the torso. Find your support system around your entire spinal column from your first energy center through your seventh, right? And then from there, you move the left hand, the block, over to the inside of the right foot. So just move the whole situation. Put your right hand on your right hip, push the right hip in and back, left heel down and lengthen the spine one more time. Now for the turn today, I want you to try to move your left shoulder over your left wrist and think of rotating from the kidney band. I'm still looking down, right? Maybe that right arm reaches up. The more I push my left hand down and get that rotation, the easier that becomes on that right shoulder, by the way. And then if I'm going to turn my gaze, I'm going to turn my eyeballs first to the right and look as far as I can, and then shift my head to that, match that. And then I'm going to shift my eyeballs up to the ceiling, and then I'm going to shift my head to look up to that. Take a breath. Twisted triangle. Whew, Parivritta Trikonasana. Move, turn down. I don't think I told you, I think I just did it. And then step back to downward facing dog. And breathe. Inhale the left leg up into the air behind you. Step it forward. Bring the blocks in. Step the right foot in if you need to bring the right heel down to the ground, right? And again, please be on high. Just humor me if you don't mind. We're going to do this a second time, and then you can do your variations, right? So first, I want you to find this. Push that right outer heel down like the Dickens to lengthen through the spine, right? That's a huge anchor for this pose. Huge. And then from there, tone everything you can that you need to in order to support the spine from your first chakra all the way through the seventh. Left hand in the hip crease, push the hip in and back, push the right heel down, lengthen the spine one more time, and then move that right block in. Sorry, I should have done that a little sooner. Right next to the ball mound of the left big toe. So from there to twist, I'm going to push down in that right hand mightily and get my shoulder to move over my right wrist. If it's feeling okay in that left shoulder socket, I might reach my left fingertips directly out of the left shoulder. Again, the more I push down through that right hand and get my ribs to rotate, the easier that is on the left shoulder. And then the gaze thing, right? So again, I'm talking about spotting today. Turn your eyes to the left and then turn your head to match them. Turn your eyes up to the ceiling and then turn your head to match them. Or don't, keep looking down the whole time. Breathe. I'm losing my low belly. My ribs are flaring. I want to have my head back. I call it the ponytail getting pulled back. So I'm going to try to realign my spine while I'm here. I'm not making that up. These are my things that happen to me, right? Look down, bring the hand down, step back, downward facing dog, moving the blocks, breathing. So we got one more piece, friends, and then it's cool down. Y'all ready? Inhale the right leg up into the air behind you. Step it forward. Bring the blocks in on high. Humor me for the first part. Step the left foot in and get the left heel down. And again, your anchor is the left heel. The biggest part, I think, of this pose that people miss, the joy, right, of the sturdiness and the stability. So lengthen. You don't have to put your right hand in your right hip crease this time, but imagine it's there. Let it hold that right hip in and back, right? And now from there, feel free to do what we just did. Or you can put your hand on the pinky edge side because that's a little more difficult. Or you could drop down to a lower level on a block or to the ground, etc. I'm going to stay exactly where we were, right? Because I'm finding a lot of really great stuff actually, not pushing myself further into the pose. So you're going to push down into your left hand wherever it's at. Try to get the left shoulder over the left wrist. Think of rotating from your kidney band all the way through the upper back. Maybe the right arm reaches up, maybe it does not. And then again, play with spotting if that's been effective for you and helping you be able to move and turn and look up towards the right hand-ish. And then breathe wherever you're working from. Look down, bring the hands down, and downward dog in between. Breathing. One of the things I must say I love about Iyengar, a lot of people get like, oh, it's so boring. You just do the same pose 3, 4, 5 times. I actually kind of love it because each time a really good Iyengar teacher, they teach something else and you add something to it. Inhale the left leg up and you've practiced it. So by the time you get into it 3 or 4 times, I'm usually finding something different. Step the right foot in, bring the right heel down, push the right heel down and find the spinal length, and then support the length of the spine so that as we twist, we don't lose that. Again, you get to have any variation you want with your blocks, your hand, whether it's on the inner edge or the outer edge, more difficult on the outer edge, more difficult the lower you drop. Maybe left hand comes up to the hip, maybe not. You're going to go ahead and you're going to push into that right hand to get that right shoulder to come over the right wrist-ish, right? Maybe the left fingertips reach up, maybe not. And then if you want to play with that spotting, please do. Remember that right heel pushing down is a critical piece of the stability here. And breathing. The length of the spine, I would say another fairly critical piece, right? And bringing that down. It's not that there's no other way to do it. There is. Take a downward dog. Last one of class. Does it feel any differently? I'll tell you, I've got a ton more length in my calves from doing those pyramids. Holy crap. Bring those knees down, have them come out wide, toes together. Child's pose. And breathe. Bring your hands back towards your knees. We're going to come onto our backs so you can move blankets or anything going on out of the way. Lower yourself down onto your back. And we've just got 2 more moves here. Walk your feet out wide, tee your arms out, and let yourself move in and out of windshield wiper twist. I should say in and out of it. Let yourself do windshield wiper twist, right? And then maybe that knee swing that we do so often, if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, you're new to my teaching, I'm demonstrating that. It's just an add-on to what we're already doing, right? And then the next time that your knees are over to the right and you've swung the left knee up, hold it with the right hand, flex the left foot, push the left heel out. Just pointing out that this is the same shape again, right? Different position of relationship to gravity. Maybe turn the head to the left and just breathe from that place. Go ahead and bend that left knee, put it down, let the knees go over to the left, swing that right knee up, hold it with the left hand, flex the right foot. Then you might turn your head to the right. So 2 things about this. So when I'm doing this with you guys in the beginning of class or all these other classes where we're not doing pure, twisted triangle, we're still priming the body for the ability to do that at some point in time, right? To just noticing how much different and probably easier it is on the ground. You can go ahead and come back to center than when we were holding that pose in the middle of the floor on 2 feet, right? Let those knees come in. Circle your knees together and other way. And then go ahead and lay yourself out into Shavasana. Now, y'all know that usually I talk you through the Shavasana and do it with you. Today, I'm going to encourage you to stay here for at least a couple of minutes. I think this is an incredibly important pose. I was taught this is the most important pose of all of yoga, actually. So please, please feel free to stay here. But if you're on a time commitment, you can just from the floor right here, let's say namaste. And may you have a wonderful day, friends.